One thing that my first teacher used to speak about was the luminous center, and that it was through contact with the luminous center that there was a potential for awakening. And you speak about the light of pure knowing.
Yes.
And I saw that the overlap.
It's the same. The luminous center. It's the sunlight in the room, the sunlight that pervades the room, which seems to be in the room, but in fact is not generated by the room, nor is it limited to the room. It's the same with the I am. The I that seems to pervade the body is not in the body.
And it's not over there either.
It's not either. It's not in the body or outside. Obviously, the metaphor, the analogy of the sunlight breaks down at a certain point. It's the luminous. The luminous center, the light that for instance, this experience that each of us is having now, we're all having a perception of this room, everyone a slightly different perception, but we're also all having various thoughts, feelings and sensations. So each of us is having a kind of matrix of different experience, but and all of our experiences are different. But in each case, our experience, whatever it is lit up or known. Just as, relatively speaking, this room is lit up or rendered visible by the light of the sun, our experience is rendered knowable by the light of consciousness. And that light of consciousness is not in experience, but all experience is suffused by it, is illuminated by it. Even the deepest depression, if you were to paint, if you were to try to graphically illustrate a deep depression, you could just take a piece of paper and paint it black. Yes? But even a depression is known. When we say, I am depressed, we know the experience of depression. In other words, even that darkness is lit up or rendered knowable by the bright light of awareness. So all experience, from our darkest moments to our brightest moments, are lit up or rendered knowable by the same light of knowing. That light of knowing is called I. The common name for it is I. It is I that knows my experience. Everybody calls that which knows their experience I. If we were to ask any of the 7 billion of us on the street, what is it that is aware of your current experience? Everyone would say, it is I that knows my experience. And if we make an investigation, what is that I? It's just knowing. It's like the sun is just light. I is just pure knowing, without anything that is known. It is just the knowing of experience, and it's always in the same pristine condition. It is the foundation of all knowledge and experience. It is that in which we move and live and have our being. It is that in which all experience appears. It is that with which all experience is known, and it is that out of which all experience is made.
So there is a literal truth to the saying that we are the light, that we are actually light.
No, I'm being literal. I agree. It is literally true that we are the light of knowing. Imagine now if you were all to remove knowing from your current experience. What would be left? We can't even say nothing. Because in order to say there is nothing, like what are you watching on TV? Nothing. In order to say nothing, we have to be aware there is nothing there. There are no things there. If we remove knowing from experience, we cannot even say there is nothing. In fact, we cannot even think. Try now to think of what would be left if we removed knowing from experience. You can't even think of that. Everything can be removed from experience, and indeed will be removed from experience, except knowing or self-aware being. It is the ground, the substance, the reality. It is that in which all experience takes place, that with which all experience is known, and that out of which all experience is made. In fact, we cannot legitimately say there is anything other than that. Has anybody here ever experienced anything other than the knowing of experience? Could anyone here ever experience anything other than the knowing of experience? Or if we ask this question to all 7 billion of us, have you or could you ever experience anything other than the knowing of experience? Could anybody legitimately answer yes to that question? No. Nobody has ever or could ever experience anything other than the knowing of experience. When I say nobody could experience anything, I suggest that it is somebody that experiences this knowing. No, it is this knowing that knows experience. That in which knows is just this knowing presence. Can that ever experience anything other than the knowing of experience? No. How do we know that there is anything other than this knowing? We don't. If we're true scientists, all we can say for absolute certainty is that I am, or consciousness is, and that everything that is experienced is a modulation of that. As Balayani, as you can tell, my favorite Sufi poet of the moment, as Balayani said, God is, and nothing is with him. God is, and no thing is or exists alongside him. There is nothing other than God's infinite being, which is a religious way of saying there is nothing other than infinite consciousness. And all experience is a modulation of that. No thing, no separate discrete object or self ever comes into existence with its own finite, independent existence. The only existence there is God's infinite being, or that's in religious language, in secular language, infinite consciousness.
Thank you.
That's really all I have to say. So we can, for the rest of the week, we can continue to explore this, but not just intellectually, although it's important that this understanding stands up to reason, but more importantly, we explore it in a very experiential